just going through the media journey, I guess now that you're out of it, when you look back, like what was that like? Because again, you had a very lengthy career after Columbia as well.
Well, I'll say the most recent thing I was doing was I wasn't writing, but I was working for the UNC Charlotte football team. So
Gotcha.
I think that having that perspective for 2 years working on the inside of a football program and coming to understand all the things that it takes to run a team and a building and a program at that level, at the Conference USA level, let alone at the SEC level, I came away with a very different perspective on it's a lot, and I think, Shane is probably facing some of those questions about how fast can you learn, even though I know you've been around Lincoln Riley and your dad and Spurrier and all these really successful people, but this is your deal now. And are you prepared for all that entails? And I think he'd be honest and say in some ways, yes. And in some ways, no. And it's like anything, I'll learn what I need to know as fast as I can, but there is going to be some learning. And so I think that is the thing that stands out to me is my most recent experience was outside of writing. And it really wasn't much media stuff at all. I was an assistant to the head coach and just kind of a catch-all. So I was doing academic stuff and helping with our social media stuff, content. And that was really different. And working for ESPN, I remember I was there in studio to do TV at ESPNU the day that Spurrier retired. And so that was a really interesting day because they put me on like probably 6 or 7 different shows because of the perspective that I had. I remember Kevin Carter was there and he played for Spurrier at Florida. So he and I were on a lot of different shows like Sports Center and everything, Feinbaum all day that day. The whole thing, working in sports is really hard. And a lot of people do it for a really long time. I did it for 20-ish years. And
it's a long stint. That's a long.
There's a lot of sacrifice. It's gotten a lot harder, obviously, just in terms of stability. And that was the eye-opening thing about ESPN when I was let go in 2016. It's like, hey, if ESPN is in a place where there's stability, there's not going to be any in sports media, period. And so I think that's just an unfortunate reality is a lot of friends of mine have been laid off. I've obviously been laid off and trying to struggle to make it work when we just gushed and I got chills talking about the South Carolina, the baseball teams in 2010, 2011. You're working for those moments, but it's harder and harder and harder to work for those moments when you're sacrificing finance and stability and all those things. And that's ultimately what led me to try and go down a different path. And now I'm in sales. But the thing that I look back on is I'm really glad I did it. I don't have any regret because of the memories, because of the moments, because of the friendships. I'm so glad that I did it. I feel really fortunate that I got to do all the things that I did. And a lot of that is my time in South Carolina because like I said, I didn't know when I got there in 2007, 2008, it didn't look like any of this stuff was going to work out. Those were the baseball teams that were supposed to be in Omaha with Smoke and those guys, and they didn't make it. They couldn't even make it out of a regional a couple of times. And then the team that you don't expect winds up winning the whole thing. And it's post-hype Spurrier. Everybody's kind of given up on him. And then 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13 happened. And I just feel really fortunate that I was there at that point in time. And there's no question about that.